This is CBC Vancouver News.
We have to be more proactive than reactive.
Closing parks to save a city, a BC community looks to get ahead of new wildfires. Plus,
thank you for being back today. This has been a blessing.
transit riders in the Fraser Valley got back on the bus today after months without service. And
these events always just bring such a sense of community.
a new route, the same love. Thousands hit the streets for Vancouver's Pride Parade. Good evening, I'm Stephanie Mercier. We begin with the wildfire situation in the province. There are more evacuations to tell you about as our most destructive wildfire season ever continues on. And we have some new numbers on the properties lost north of Whistler last week. But first, it's so dry and the fire danger is so high that some typical long weekend activities are simply off limits. Joel Ballard now with when the province might see some relief.
On a long weekend in August, you might expect packed parks and Kamloops.
We're just camping in the area, so we said we'd do a hike.
But the city has closed all of its nature parks and trails, given the dry and hot conditions, hoping to eliminate any chance of human-caused fires.
Prevention is what we have to do more. We have to be more proactive than reactive.
The mayor says Kamloops has already seen fires caused by people, and he's not taking any risks.
I think that most people, they don't want to start a fire in their neighborhood, you know.
Across the province, almost 200 wildfires are burning out of control. The Lower East Adams Lake fire, northeast of Kamloops, has already forced the evacuation of nearly 100 properties, while the Downton Lake fire near Whistler saw mass evacuations and more than a dozen structures destroyed. Lytton First Nation has also ordered the evacuation of 4 of its reserves, less than 20 kilometers from where the village of Lytton burned to the ground in 2021.
I think the emotions are running high anytime we come across and spot smoke. You know, even the smell of smoke in the area is obviously a trigger for people.
It's been a long, challenging wildfire season, and right now there's a ridge of high pressure over much of BC, bringing hot, dry air.
But we do have a little bit of instability that's floating around the province,
resulting in lots of lightning. More than 500 lightning strikes on Saturday in the southeast corner of the province alone. But change is in the air for Tuesday.
We're going to see a really strong trough sweep across the province, almost like a fall-looking system. And with that, it's going to bring rain to the northern portions of the province, which is fantastic news. We'll take whatever we can get these days.
Back in Kamloops, it appears their efforts and signage are working.
We just saw the sign, and we just decided to abide by the law and not go on the hike, I guess.
That's our Joel Ballard reporting from Vancouver. One of the fires he mentioned was the Gun Lake blaze north of Whistler. We're learning now just how many buildings were destroyed when that fire flared up last week. Officials now say 2 recreational seasonal homes, like cabins, were destroyed, and another 12 to 14 outbuildings, like boathouses, sheds, and garages, were also lost. And this evening, there's a new evacuation order near the Bush Creek fire on Adams Lake. The Thompson-Nicola Regional District says anyone from 13 properties near the Adams Forest Service Road must leave immediately. Buses resumed service in the Fraser Valley today after the second longest transit strike in BC history. Public transit in Abbotsford, Chilliwack, Hope, and surrounding areas had been on hold since March 20th. Yasmin Gandam has reaction from the community.
A quiet first day here in Abbotsford, one of many cities across the Fraser Valley that has now resumed transit service after drivers walked off the job in March. But for some riders, it's life-changing news.
I have developmental disability, and the bus is a good outlet for me to be with people and live life and get places. They deserve more money. They've done a good job. And thank you for being back today. This has been a blessing.
Was it tough to get around with the strike?
Yes, it was.
What were you doing as other?
Basically walking around, doing errands, taking cabs and stuff like that.
I had to walk. I didn't mind. I get up at 6 in the morning and do my walk.
Transit service is free in the Fraser Valley for August. Drivers say they are happy to serve the community again, but larger issues still loom.
The workers of our communities get low pay. This is why we made the stand, and we feel bad for the public to have to go through this, but we're happy to be back.
Well, it's never perfect, but I think they did their max, and we have to accept it, and we will see for the future.
The strike ended on July 21st when CUPE Local 561 workers voted to ratify a new labor agreement with BC Transit contractor First Transit. Fraser Valley drivers were seeking better wages closer to their counterparts in Metro Vancouver. Some labor experts say to avoid future labor strife, the province might want to run transit in places like the Fraser Valley.
Public transit is a public good. It should be a Crown corporation, but we need to bring it in-house. We need to run it ourselves.
Still, buses are back on the road today, and riders hope they won't need to scramble for transportation alternatives anytime soon. Yasmin Gandham, CBC News, Abbotsford.
The August long weekend is typically the busiest travel weekend for BC Ferries. The corporation put out a warning days ago advising people to plan for long waits. But as Claire Palmer reports, so far at least, it's been relatively calm seas for those aboard.
It was relatively quiet at Nanaimo's departure bay today, many travelers opting to walk on.
They're very accommodating. They let us change our ferry time from 4 o'clock today to 1:30, so they've been very good.
I've been on the ferry I think about 3-4 times now, and only once was it really late, but other than that it's been pretty smooth sailing, I'd say. Like, even with the advisories so far, it hasn't affected me really, so I'd say it's been pretty good.
A few possible waits, but otherwise smooth sailing.
Controlled chaos is a good word. But yeah, no, actually there's never been any trouble with any of the people coming through, none.
Not seeing any significant delays. We did have one sailing wait yesterday at Tsawwassen to Nanaimo. We're not seeing that this afternoon.
In a morning update, BC Ferries said vehicle traffic is down compared to this time last year, with pedestrian traffic up. It is a cheaper option, and the corporation says there's more of a guarantee to get on your planned sailing.
If you're concerned that you need to absolutely get to where you want to go, foot passenger travel is always, an excellent choice.
Those who did come in vehicles were prepared to wait.
I got here half an hour ago, and they said that I might be here till 6. I might be able to catch the 3, whatever it is, ferry. I don't know, but yeah, they said might be here till 6 o'clock. So,
if you are still planning to travel this long weekend, BC Ferries says Monday evening and Tuesday morning are likely to be busier, but there are still some reservations available.
We have all our crews, all of our ships are in the water, all of our crews are deployed. We have brought on backup crews just in case anybody can't make it in for whatever reason to work.
Johnson adds that 85% of people travel with reservations and that delays primarily affect those traveling standby. Claire Palmer, CBC News, Nanaimo.
Vancouver's 45th annual Pride Parade brought thousands to the streets of downtown to celebrate today. The event has been held in the city since 1978. This year, the route was expanded and changed a little to make it more accessible. Let's have a look at some of the sights and sounds of the big party. To Vancouver Island, a new group has set up another anti-logging protest camp in the Fairy Creek area.
So we feel that it's critical to be out there for all of the biodiversity, the Indigenous cultures that depend on these lands.
The group trying to stop forestry company Teal Jones from accessing 2 cut blocks. Fairy Creek is the site of one of the largest acts of civil disobedience in Canadian history. 2 years ago, protesters started blocking roads to halt old-growth logging in the region. Almost 1,200 arrests were made after a court granted an injunction. The Pachita First Nation says in a statement, this new group is trespassing on its land. It's asking them to leave the territory. Have you ever had to skip a meal because you're running late? Well, starting this month, Lower Mainland SkyTrain commuters can grab a quick bite from a vending machine, even sushi. Commuters can roll up to select stations and get one of these packages from Coquitlam-based business Sushi Mori. They've offered up a handful of items from their menu. And if you're craving something different, you can also get sweet treats or pizza. There are 3 machines being tested right now at Coquitlam Central, Lafarge Lake Douglas, and Lonsdale Quay. They will become fully operational by Wednesday. Now to a tournament for a growing sport. Pickleball players from all over North America gathered in Surrey this weekend to compete in the Super Senior Slam Championship. Our reporter Saurabh Sandhu was there to catch the action.
Pickleball may be known as a sport for fun and relaxation, but today is not that kind of day. The pressure is on and stakes are high. More than 400 players are competing in the Super Senior Slam, a pickleball tournament for athletes above the age of 50. The tournament features 5 skill categories and 6 age groups.
So there's a wide variety of skill, and then there's the men's and women's doubles, and then the mixed event.
That's awesome pickleball play, just absolutely amazing.
I think the vibe is absolutely amazing. This is like one of the best places to have all the pickleball players and tournaments and events happen.
The tournament is also serving as a chance for the local community to fundraise. Money raised is being donated to local food bank, Women's Shelter and Ned's Wish, a charity which raises money to provide medical care for military and police dogs after they retire.
We tried to set it up like a festival with a lot of tents. We had over 30 sponsors give either prizes or money or their time. And the people are saying that they're enjoying the vibe here.
And with players coming from far and away, it's a chance for many to share their love for the game with others. South Surrey's Bob McIntosh teamed up with Carl Hillier, who came from Newfoundland. And together, they bagged a gold medal.
He needed a partner to play. The club asked me to play with them, and I did. We hung out all week together, became friends, and had a good day today.
It's a wonderful community, so we all do what we can to support, mentally and physically, however we can.
A feeling shared by many here, both pickleballers and the spectators alike. Saurabh Sandhu, CBC News, Surrey.
After the break, criminal prosecutors are trying to put a lid on Donald Trump's promises of revenge. What evidence leaks could cost the trial is next. Over to the U.S. now. Former President Donald Trump's lawyers are resisting a possible court order requested by federal prosecutors. It's looking to limit what Trump can say about evidence. As Ashley Burke reports, the Trump legal team is under deadline to respond.
Just days after pleading not guilty to some of the most serious charges he's ever faced, Donald Trump returned to the campaign trail. He spent the weekend trying to discredit his third indictment this year.
It is an outrageous criminalization of political speech.
At a Republican fundraising dinner, Trump lashed out at the legal system and special counsel Jack Smith.
We call it a sham indictment, and the man that's doing it, I really believe he's mentally ill.
Trump's accused of conspiring to overturn the 2020 election, an attempt by the government's prosecutors to hold him criminally responsible for his election lies in the days leading up to his supporters storming Capitol Hill. Trump's former vice president says he has no plans to testify against him.
But people can be confident we'll obey the law, we'll respond to the call of the law if it comes.
Concerned about Trump leaking evidence before the trial and intimidating witnesses, government prosecutors asked a judge to limit what he can reveal publicly. Pointing to Trump's post online Friday, he wrote, "If you go after me, I'm coming after you."
We're all in favor of protecting sensitive and highly sensitive information, but it's unprecedented to have all information hidden in a criminal case, including, by the way, information that might be exculpatory.
Trump's legal team plans to fight that request for a protective order and build their defense around freedom of speech, arguing Trump's protected by the First Amendment. But his former attorney general disagrees.
Certainly a challenging case, but I don't think it runs afoul of the First Amendment. Well, from a prosecutor's standpoint, I think it's a legitimate case.
Trump posted online Sunday that there's no way he can get a fair trial unless the judge recuses herself and the trial's moved out of D.C. Now his legal team has until Monday afternoon to challenge the protective order request. Ashley Burke, CBC News, Washington.
It's a somber anniversary for Japan as it marks 78 years since the U.S. dropped an atomic bomb on the city of Hiroshima. A peace bell rang at 8:15 a.m. local time at a memorial in the city. That's the time the bomb was dropped on August 6, 1945. It killed thousands instantly and about 140,000 people by the end of the year. Japan surrendered on August 15th after a second nuclear attack. Freddie Mercury fans will soon get a rare new look into his life and music. Sotheby's in London will auction 1,500 of his personal items, many never seen before in public. But some fans are questioning why they're not in a museum. Abiku Avasan takes us inside.
Fitting for rock royalty, the instantly recognizable crown and robe Freddie Mercury wore at one of the last Queen concerts is what fans first see at Sotheby's. About 1,500 items that once belonged to the late legend are now here at the auction house. From his iconic onstage outfits to all things feline, including his waistcoat featuring his beloved cats and never-before-seen handwritten notes.
This is the earliest surviving draft of Bohemian Rhapsody. He knew that he was writing a song with a real twist, because at the bottom he says, middle section, opera.
Mercury's personal pieces of furniture and trinkets have now been unveiled to the public.
Japanese art was very much his private world. He had the Japanese room in his house, which was his kind of personal retreat. Kimono are interesting because they bridge that gap between his private and his stage persona.
He'd left this house behind me to his trusted friend Mary Austin before he died in 1991. Sotheby's says she's now ready to part with these belongings through several auctions in September. But some fans worry it'll be out of reach for too many.
Well, you need the money though, don't you?
Yeah, I kind of think maybe it should be in a music museum somewhere.
He isn't Freddie, but Phil Copping has been performing as the rock star for nearly 15 years. He opposes locking away the items and is hoping to win this Tiffany silver mustache comb.
And it would be a thrill to be able to use something that he's used and in the same way, you know.
A memento from his idol, the son of a Parsi Indian couple, became not only a global superstar, but an inspiration to people like Phil when he was growing up.
Conservative parents, they're always worried about how it's going to look to other people, but it gave an opportunity to express who I was.
Sotheby's says some of the proceeds will go to charities like the Mercury Phoenix Trust and the Elton John AIDS Foundation, looking to honor the man whose work and life touched millions around the world. Abby Kuodasin, CBC News, London.
Here's a live shot of BC Place and the Georgia Viaduct. We are in for some cooler conditions this week and some rain. I'll have your forecast after the break.
We're sharing really important information with the public, and I feel like this is exactly what our job is, especially as the public broadcaster, especially in morning radio. That's incredibly important.
It's been 3 weeks since Barbie hit theaters, and it's now a $1 billion blockbuster.
the best day ever.
It is the best day ever. So is yesterday, and so is tomorrow, and every day from now until forever.
Warner Brothers says the movie has now surpassed $1 billion in box office sales worldwide. This makes filmmaker Greta Gerwig the first solo female director to reach that milestone. Okay, so it's time to take a look now at the forecast for the province. And what we're all wondering, is there rain coming? And have a look at that green band moving into the coast there. Yes, there is rain coming. We're looking at late Monday into Tuesday for the northern, central, sort of coastal regions. We are going to see that precipitation moving into those parts of BC. That should be, hopefully, some great news for the fire situation in lots of parts of the province. Okay, let's take a look at the forecast for tomorrow around BC. We're looking at some not particularly hot temperatures for anywhere around BC, the highest being Kelowna there at a high of 29. We've got some thunderstorms possible for the central interior, southeast, and then some showers right along the coast there for a lot of those regions. So not a particularly hot day. And now we'll have a look at what the 5 days are going to bring us for Metro Vancouver, our 5-day forecast. Monday looks to be a pretty nice day, mix of sun and cloud, just a high of 24. Tuesday, Wednesday, we here in Metro Vancouver should see some of those showers moving through, just a high of 23. Thursday, Friday, a little bit brighter again, but still just a high of 23. So we're looking at a pretty lovely, relatively mild week ahead. And that is your late news for Sunday, August the 6th. Thanks for joining us tonight. For news at any hour, you can always go to our website, cbc.ca/BC. Have a good night.